Welcome to the 2016 Bound for Glory All-Star Super Show podcast with TNA Dude and Raven Effect from the TNAsylum HeelCast, BQ, Will, and Kyle from the King of the Mountain podcast, and FK9 from Straight Shootin. Bound for Glory, I knew you'd come.
Hey everyone, welcome to the first ever TNA Podcaster All-Star Extravaganza. I'm TNA Dude, and I'm not just joined by fellow HeelCasters. No, I'm also joined by our great friends from the King of the Mountain podcast, as well as our good buddy FK9. And tonight, for one show only, we're getting together to talk TNA and specifically Bound for Glory. From the King of the Mountain podcast, we have BQ. BQ, how's it going?
What is up? Excited as hell to be doing this.
Awesome, and we are so excited that you're here. And of course, from the King of the Mountain podcast, we've got our good buddy Will. Will, how's it hanging, brother?
Hey, what's going on? Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
This is awesome. And guys, let's not forget Kyle. Sup, Kyle?
Hey, thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure. I also run the Daily Impact Instagram account. Listeners, follow. Come check me out.
Awesome. We will do just that. Now, look, in addition to those guys, we've got podcast extraordinaire, the straight shooter himself, FK9, Full Killer. How you been, pal?
I'm also here.
You are also here. Now, look, guys, I'm not even allowed on air without my not-so-faithful friend, the one and only, and yeah, that's probably a good thing, Raven Effect. Raven Effect, you ready for this?
I think so. I think I might be a little offended there with that nice introduction there, but RAV is here. Happy to be with my man FK9, my brother _ himself, and of course my friends here at King of the Mountain. Awesome to be doing this. Want to congratulate you guys on your t-shirts. I'm still holding you to my word. I am going to get myself a King of the Mountain shirt. Just want you guys to know that. But the mega powers are colliding tonight for sure.
Now I gotta throw this out, guys. I am definitely jealous of the t-shirt. The fellow HeelCasters will let you know that I pitched us doing a t-shirt and it never came to fruition. So you guys beat us to the punch. I'm going to have to get my own King of the Mountain podcast t-shirt. And then, yeah, we're going to get one out there too. It's got to happen. Maybe one of our listeners can get together and put a good t-shirt on for us. Now, look. Before we get into the show, want to make sure that everybody that's listening can find all of our great podcasts on the web. So BQ, can you tell the folks a little about King of the Mountain podcast and how they can find you?
All right, so the King of the Mountain podcast, we've been around about 6 months. Had a lot of growth since we started. You can Google us. You can look on YouTube. We're either under King of the Mountain podcast or King of the Mountain radio. Either one. Our main link is through Podbean. KOTM podcast.podbean.com, and we're on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, all the good sites. But like I said, you can Google or YouTube search or whatever it is, King of the Mountain Radio or King of the Mountain Podcast, and you will find us. And we're reviewing Impact every week, throwing a couple interviews in there as well too.
So look, guys, King of the Mountain Podcast, you can subscribe to it. You can get to it from iTunes. You get to it from Google Play as well, BQ.
You know, I'm actually not sure. I actually haven't looked it up on Google Play.
All right, but also YouTube. So by all means, find it, subscribe, great stuff. Now, FK9, tell them about Straight Shootin, but also how it works and how they can actually participate in your show, right?
Yeah. Well, for a number of years, I've been reviewing Impact every single week. You can find the show on TNAsylum.net. I usually go up on the weekends. I go over everything, the matches, promos, backstage goings-on, and give my take on the whole thing. I'm not a fanboy. I don't sugarcoat anything. There's other sites, other fans out there that try to put a fancy bow on the product, make it something it's not, or just ignore the big picture or something. That's not me. I don't believe in doing that. I always call it like it is. I always try to tell the truth, even if it hurts. So if, unabashed, brutally honest commentary is what you're looking for, you can check out Straight Shootin on TNAsylum.net. I also have text columns there occasionally. You can check out my personal blog, TNAthreshold.blogspot.com. All my stuff goes up there. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at TheRealFK9. I'm always live tweeting during the shows, and there's always a notice when a new column or video goes up. And also help me get more followers because I think that would be nice of you.
That would be. And so let me tell you, folks, this is a great show that FK9 puts on. He puts it on every single week, and it's something that you can participate in, ask questions. So by all means, participate there. Now, Raven Effect, can you tell everybody a little bit about the HeelCast and where they can go to find the HeelCast?
I have never heard of this show once in my life. No, TNA HeelCast, that is us, myself, TNA Dude. We have a returning member coming back soon, but we're keeping the secret on that. Honorary FK9, numero 47, Griggs, all of us are in there. We have some guests ourselves. We all originated from TNAsylum.net. Can't forget about Hurls, too. Check out our man Hurls. We all came together on TNAsylum.net. That is home base for us. Our show will always be up there. You can catch us on SoundCloud. You can catch us on YouTube. I believe Google Play, too. I'm not too sure. I'm computer illiterate, to say the least, internet non-tech savvy. But one thing I got to say is I always listen to our boy FK9. I always listen to him for a couple of years there. Always wanted to do the TNA podcast because TNA doesn't get enough love out there. We started back in January with the very first Impact of the year. We've been going strong almost every week. We kind of took a couple months off, which everyone that listens to us should know about. But one thing I do also want to say is King of the Mountain, when those guys came out, look, we saw a couple other TNA podcasts kind of form when we came out, and none of them stuck around. I've been listening to King of the Mountain podcast since day one. Since their very first show, I knew these guys were legit and the real deal. These guys do a great show, just like FK9, just like we do. We're all giving you the product the way that it should be and giving the positive and honest take on TNA. And I'm very excited to be doing this show with everyone here. And thank you, everyone that listens, for the support. And you can find us also at TNA HeelCast or at TNA HeelCast on Twitter as well.
Awesome. So now everybody knows where to find all of these wonderful podcasts. So now we're going to get into the meat of the show. We're going to talk Bound for Glory and the Bound for Glory preview. Now, this is being recorded before the last Impact Wrestling prior to Bound for Glory, so there's probably still going to be another match or two introduced. But right now, we've got a full docket of cards that we can talk about. So Raven Effect, can you talk Moose versus Mike Bennett? Who do you got? What do you like? And how do you break this thing down?
I guess I could go ahead and step into that. So this is one of the matches I'm really excited about. I do think that this probably shouldn't be happening because I think that it came to fruition way too soon. But look, Mike Bennett's a guy that came over from ROH, completely blew up. I think Mike Bennett has surpassed everything he did in ROH in just a few short months in TNA. One of the bright spots in TNA. And look, if you want to get Moose over more than Moose is, this is a guy to put him with. I think it's going to be a pretty damn good match. To be honest with you guys, I think Moose is going to showcase what he can do. I don't think we're going to get a technical wrestling classic by any stretch of the imagination. But look, Moose is the big thing that they're pushing. They're putting him with the right guy to really get him over in this match. For asking me who I got, I think Moose goes over clean in a pretty close match, I would say. But I think Moose is going to go over. They're going to push towards Moose versus Lashley is a big thing coming forward, assuming that everything does go forward, but don't know how much we're getting into that. But to slow it up, that's my take to start off here.
All right, so this match of everything on the card is the only match that has a real clear-cut heel and clear-cut babyface. And the reason I say that, I mean, with the Knockouts title match, that's a clear-cut heel, clear-cut babyface. But some people are going to be cheering against Gail Kim. Some people are going to be cheering against Decay. Some are going to be cheering against the Hardys. This is the one where it's like, I think everyone's either going to be cheering for Moose and everyone's going to be booing Mike Bennett. I think it's the biggest contrast. I know Raven said it was rushed a little bit. I think it's a good reflection of how TNA is listening to the fans. I don't think they meant for this to happen so quickly. I think they were going to possibly even build a stable starting with these two. The Moose arm thing got over very, very fast. I mean, if you're talking about from the first episode to the second to the third, it started getting over really, really fast. And I think they just listened to the crowd. This probably wasn't the planned match. I think the planned match was probably Eddie Edwards against Mike Bennett. That's my thoughts, because that match never happened. If you remember a few weeks ago, that's what they were building up to, and then it never happened. So I think this is going to be a really good match. I'm going with Mike Bennett winning this one with heelish tactics. I know they're going to push Moose as a baby face and a strong baby face to go up against Lashley soon. But I'm going against the grain a little bit here. I think Mike Bennett's going to pull it out.
I agree, BQ, with a lot of the things that you said. I believe that this is a match that TNA probably didn't originally plan on doing. I also agree with you. I think it's incredibly good insight, to be honest with you, about Eddie Edwards and Mike Bennett being on that card. I mean, let's face it, there's no denying that they knew Davey Richards wasn't going to be back in time, and they have to do something with Eddie Edwards. It's too good of a talent to waste. I think what happened was they were able to sign Moose, and they said, well, we got to push the guy now, and so let's put him with Mike Bennett. Because Mike Bennett's been an all-star. He's been on fire this entire year. He's arguably, wrestler of the year, to be honest with you. Now, there are some other folks that could also argue for, but Mike Bennett's certainly in consideration. So if you put Moose with Mike Bennett, he's going to go over. And to me, that's actually what makes Mike Bennett so great, is that whoever is with Mike Bennett is going to get over. And the whole, tractor trailer pull thing with Moose has gotten down pretty quick. The first week they actually did go ahead and, and dub it in, and you could hear it that they were doing that. But after that, it just really took off. As far as the match itself is concerned, I'm going to disagree with the BQ. I'm going to go with Raven Effect, and I'm going to say that Moose goes over clean, and that sets up a feud between Moose and Bobby Lashley. The one thing TNA has done a phenomenal job of this year, and honestly, it's easy to do, but nobody ever does it anymore, is build the next feud in advance. So you kind of see where things are going. And that's a big thing for me. So I've got Moose going over clean in this particular match. Now, look, after this match, we've also got the Bound for Gold Gauntlet match. And this is a match where, seemingly it's still being developed as we go. We still have people that are being added to the match almost on a daily basis. So, Will, what do you think about this match? Who do you think wins? Is it somebody that's even been announced?
I think that the winner is going to be someone that we haven't seen in quite a while. Now, Billy Corgan being, I'll just say in general, creative being the way that they have, I would figure Tyrus would win. Now, yes, I know he had won last year, but you spend time, money, a phone number, building this new persona up as the fixer. I think he fixes to find a way to win this match. It's going to be entertaining. It's going to be the tag teams within this match that's going to work together, and you see them pair off. But I think ultimately Tyrus wins, unless there are two surprise people that they have spent more time and money on, which I really offhand can't foresee. So my winner is Tyrus.
My prediction for this one, I gotta say, now I'm feeling Eli Drake on this one. I don't think that it's gonna be like a dominant type thing. I think we're gonna see the thing where you think somebody else is gonna win, and then Eli Drake pops out of nowhere and eliminates him. I think it's important for Eli Drake to win this match because since he lost the King of the Mountain title, he hasn't had his quite he hasn't been booked as well, and I think this is a good spot to redeem him because I think Eli Drake is important to the company going down the line.
I hear a lot of people that are actually not very excited for this match that I've seen online, and I don't get it because I'm actually pretty excited. I think for one, not only do I enjoy the Gauntlet Battle Royal type of match and just Battle Royals overall, but I like how TNA at the end, they actually have the pinfall for it. And, really the uncertainty of who could win, I think, is what makes it that much more intriguing. And, Will, I really like the Tyrus analysis. It's something we haven't heard, or at least I haven't heard as people predicted to win. So I appreciate that. I like it. I would say Eli Drake right now, with what Kyle says, is probably the favorite right now. I also I think I could see Jesse Goddard as a dark horse to win it. But what I'm hoping does happen, though, is that we get the return of James Storm in this match or Bram. These are two guys, I think, really right now, only Eli Drake, Bram, James Storm, and the potential of Eddie Edwards being in the match are really the only guys that can win it. My hope is that James Storm makes his return this night, wins this match, cashes in and gets that World Heavyweight title reign that he's deserve to get like a real legitimate one. But I'm really intrigued by this match. I really want to see how it's going, and I hope that we get basically the rest of the TNA roster that's not already in a match gets on there. I want everyone on the roster to shine at Bound for Glory and to get a spot. And I'm not going to complain if the Pope comes out of the booth and wins it, because that's my hope forever. But I am excited for this match, man.
Now, look, you mentioned about people shining, and FK9. We know what you think about Gail Kim shining, and Gail's going into the Hall of Fame, and Gail's in a Knockouts championship match against Maria Kanellis on the night that she goes into the Hall of Fame after basically having run a gauntlet.
Yeah, this feud has been going on for the better part of a year. And they've been building this up for months and months. And now Gail is finally getting her hands on Maria on the same weekend that she goes into the Hall of Fame, with the big question the company wants us to be asking ourselves being, will Gail Kim win the Knockouts title at a time when TNA's MO seems to be to glorify her so much that she ascends into godhood? Not the most nail-biting cliffhanger. And that's why the real question the fans are actually asking themselves is, will whatever Allie's doing outside the ring during this match completely overshadow the two women in the ring? That might sound unfair to Gail and Maria, but that's where we're at. The heat has gone out of this feud because in a short time, the fans found Allie to be a lot more interesting. So basically, they need to have Allie involved if they want the crowd to care about the match. But if Allie is involved, it's very likely that she's the only thing the crowd will care about. And that's the current state of the feud, unfortunately. I think it's been dragged out several months too long. They had me at Slammiversary, but now I'm just waiting for it to be done with so they can hopefully move on to something else. And the fans are telling TNA what they want that something else to be, because in a short time, Allie's gotten more over as a babyface than Gail, to the point where she seems to be the only aspect of this entire storyline that's getting any kind of reaction anymore, which perfectly illustrates how starved the fans are for a new top knockout babyface to root for. So we're finally seeing the results of Gail's never-ending push backfiring on her, because a lot of the fans care more about Allie at this point, and she's not even in the match. I understand TNA wanting to glorify Gail at this time, but there is a limit to how much glorification one wrestler can have before the fans just stop caring, and I think we've reached that point. Gail deserves to go into the Hall of Fame, no question, but after Bound for Glory, this division needs to stop being about the Gail Kim show all the time. It needs to be more about the next generation of knockouts, Sally, Rosemary, Jade, Sienna, whatever, because the future lies with them and not Gail. So prediction, there's no real suspense here. It seems like a foregone conclusion. Gail defeats Maria after presumably something that Allie does blows up in Maria's face. Gail wins the Knockouts title, and the crowd celebrates her amazing accomplishment by pelting Gail with a deluge of "We Want Allie" chants.
I think it's very, very well said there. I could pretty much agree with all of your points on this one. My thing is, I agree on the Gail Kim thing with, we've just seen her. She's like the John Cena of the Knockouts division. We've seen her in her spot dominating for too long, and it's time for her to pass the torch and move on. I think she's a hell of a talent, but that spot, I think I think she's going to win the match. I think she's going to beat Maria, but who's to say this isn't her swan song where she's going to win that title, go into the Hall of Fame, and vacate the title and move on with her life? But is she going to keep wrestling? Is she going to be the champion? Is she going to feud with people? I don't know. Who's to say? But I can't wait to see how this plays out. I'm definitely excited for this match. But, yeah, to sum it up, I think Gail Kim's going to win the title.
I am hoping here that Maria surprises everybody and has been working on her ring skills for the last 7-8 months, or hopefully longer. When Maria was in WWE, I always thought she was very awkward in the ring, had really strange mannerisms. It's the only way I can really explain it. I'm hoping that she has put some real work in and we actually get a decent match. As FK9 said, they had me at Slammiversary. That build was great. Creatively, the build was good for this too, but it was just the time had kind of come and gone. People want to see Allie. And when Maria was pumping up this match a couple weeks ago on Impact, she said, and there is someone that you people cannot stop talking about. And the crowd started going, Allie, Allie. And she had to, no, not Allie, Gail Kim. It's kind of like the people want to see Allie. They don't really care about Gail Kim. They like and respect Gail Kim. She's a Hall of Famer, but as Kyle and FK9 said, man, we're just kind of ready for something else. And we don't know how good this match is going to be. Fortunately, anyone who wrestles Gail Kim, I can get in the ring with Gail Kim tomorrow and put on a 4-star match. I don't know how good this match is going to be. I'm going with Gail Kim. I can't imagine a scenario where she loses. And just as FK9 said, I'm sure Allie cost her the match. And, hopefully they take off with Allie from here on out.
Now, BQ, let me ask you a question about that, because FK9 and Kyle, they also predicted that Gail Kim would win this match, and to me, it's a pretty easy prediction as well. But what happens after this match in the Knockouts division? Now Gail's installed as a champion. Who's she feuding with, and where do the Knockouts go if Gail wins?
That's a really tough one. It's a really, really tough one because they don't really have a great heel worker. I think Laurel Van Ness is I watch Shine. I watch every Shine show. She's done a couple. She is very good in the ring. At the top of the year, she was in that Knockout Scotland match. Didn't look too good. None of the girls look good in that. She's pretty good in the ring. I could see maybe where they bump her up, as Sienna's not getting the job done. Maybe Sienna gets the first crack. She's not quite getting the job done, and they go with LVN. I don't know. It's maybe they hot shot Brandy Rhodes. I don't know. It's a hard one to guess.
Yeah, it is, and I think that makes this even maybe a little bit more intriguing than it otherwise would be, because there is no clear path after Gail and Maria, unless maybe Maria retained and went against Allie, but then Allie's still not really supposed to be a wrestler yet. So while there's no clear cut of what's going to happen in the Knockouts division, the Grand Championship, that seems like that's more of a competitive type of environment, and we do know that there's going to be a new Grand Champion crowned when Aaron Rex meets Drew Galloway. Now, Raven Effect, I know you've been all over the Grand Championship and the tournament. What's your take on this match? Who wins, and where do things go?
Well, I guess I'm going to go ahead, and for those of you that haven't checked out this week's HeelCast that just came out, I kind of talked a little bit about this. Me being both a bigger MMA guy than a pro wrestling guy, I've kind of wanted to see a mix of the two together in some aspects where wrestling would kind of take from MMA, but this isn't really the way I wanted them to go about it. That said, what I am hoping for in this match is that they either go 5 3-minute rounds like, a main event, or a title fight in the UFC is going to be the 5-minute rounds. Or they give it 5 3-minute rounds or 3 5-minute rounds, something to make this match longer, because look, I don't want to see Drew Galloway and Aaron Rex only get 9 minutes for this feud, because this has been very good the way it's portrayed out on television as far as this rivalry. They built to this match. Drew Galloway has been on a tear. I think he's in the ring. I think he's been the best wrestler of 2016 so far. And this Aaron Rex debut, his pay-per-view debut, his first big feud. They got to let these guys go out there and do what they can. And I just don't want to see him only get shafted with 9 minutes. I don't really care for the interruptions during the match, but hey, I'm not going to complain. It's something new. We're crowning a new champion. In my opinion, look, I think Aaron Rex is going to get the victory because, look, he's the big new thing in TNA that want to put the guy over, get him over big. He's a great talker. In my opinion, though, Drew Galloway should be the guy coming out with this belt, because in my opinion, if anyone deserves a reward in the workhorse, it's Drew Galloway. But I'm honest to God excited as hell for this match. I think it's going to be a great match, because I think anything Drew does ends up being a great match anymore. And I think, not only do I think this is going to be a great pay-per-view, but I think this match may have the potential to be the actual wrestling match of the night, I should say.
I think that we're going to see a few surprises in this match with this particular format. And I've said this on the KOTM podcast. This format allows you creatively to do some things that you can just dream of. And having seen this format, 20 years ago, I kind of remember some surprises. One thing that I expect, and I'll just say this, I think Drew Galloway will come away with the victory. Here are my reasons why. Aaron Rex doesn't need a title right about now. He's already over. Drew Galloway has had the world title, had a good year, but this is a feud that can carry you to the next pay-per-view in early 2017. These two can go back and forth for a while and really make this Grand Championship title mean something. These two guys can elevate the title, one with the belt, one without it. And so with the build-up of Aaron Rex coming along, he's already over. Fans will love him whether he wins or loses. He doesn't need it right about now. I expect the rounds to be closely contested. Closely contested. I expect the fans will be led to believe that Aaron Rex will get a decision victory, but won't get a decision victory. And that is what I've been waiting to have happen with this particular format. So my pick, Drew Galloway wins. He gets rewarded for being loyal and available and just doing an excellent job all year. He and Aaron Rex, and depending on what happens with Eli Drake, will just be a three-way dance, fighting, making this title valuable.
It's hard to know where this is going because there's a lot of uncertainty here. I think the jury's still out on this new match structure with the 3-3-minute rounds thing. I do think they've done a good job at promoting this new championship as something prestigious and respectable to replace the King of the Mountain title, which hopefully is rotting in a dumpster somewhere. But there's a lot of things we don't know about going into this. For example, I think there's some kind of rumor or whatever that Drew is injured and may not be able to work the match. In the case that happens, I'm hoping they could come up with a good alternative, maybe rejigger the Bound for Gold match, have the winner of that be the one to face Aaron Rex, in which case they could do like an Eli Drake or maybe a Jesse Goddard. Either one would be fine. In the case that Drew does manage to work this, I'm with Raven. I really hope they make the matches, the rounds rather. Hopefully they make the rounds longer. 5-minute rounds would be cool. I don't like the breaks in between the rounds, but it's something I guess they've got to work on. I don't think they've really refined the concept yet, but hopefully it's being developed as it goes. But I do agree. I think Drew is probably the better winner if he's healthy and ready to go, because they can use this to launch a feud. Aaron Rex doesn't really need the belt. Also, you can use Drew winning to really put over and establish him as a heel, which I think he's still not all the way there yet. I think he's becoming more heelish as time goes on, but he really needs something to put him over the top. Maybe if he won this match in heelish fashion with a low blow or a chair shot or something to that effect, it really put him over and it could help launch this feud for the next couple of months. So I'm going to go with Drew in this one.
Now, Will, you said something that really got me thinking. You mentioned that Aaron Rex and Drew Galloway could continue to feud over the Grand Championship for the next couple of months and really elevate it. And that's intriguing to me because it seems like they're building this to be more of a competitive type of a championship and less of a feud type championship. Now, I love where you're going with this and I would love to see it happen. How do you think they make it work though? Because that's been my criticism of the Grand Championship. How do they make it work with feuds and getting the same two guys that really hate each other?
Well, right now, and considering how Billy Corgan mind tends to work, you have the feuds in UFC, you have right now boxing, you have boxers all the time have trilogies. Sometimes they have 4 fights against one another. If this is going to be credible in the minds of fans who do watch boxing, who do watch MMA, you're going to have to blur the lines of reality. So to do that, especially with the environment now, based upon what that Connecticut company is doing, you have to come up with something compelling, especially when you're using a rounds format. Hey, you can't hang with me for 9 minutes, or they decide to stretch it out for special occasions, 12 or 15 minutes. You can't hang with me. You do something. Now, in order to make this get over with fans, you're going to have something that's going to reel them in. You have to have a very tense and taut feud for the title it has to be around the title. It's not, oh, well, I just hate your guts, you're right. No, it has to be that I am the better person. And so far, no one's talking about I'm going to do this and I'm going to go for a world title. They're just strictly focused on this. these two guys have chemistry. Well, they will have chemistry. They're both redemption stories, and so you can do a lot just based upon the backstories of the two wrestlers. And so whatever happens, whoever wins will not be the end of this. This has to go on, because really, where else can you can't go too many other places other than have someone just go around the round robin format of, okay, I beat this person, I beat that person. That's not going to do very much. You need to have an intense rivalry based around the winner and the loser of this match.
I just want to say one thing, because Will, I love everything you just said, and I love what you said at the start too with your analysis, because that's fantastic. And look, I believe I heard you're an MMA guy too on your show, like myself. Nothing infuriates me more when I watch a close UFC fight or something where I think that the judges got it wrong, and I think, man, that'll be a great concept to see it Bound for Glory. And I think you may have actually changed my mind on my prediction. I want to give you credit for that, man, because that blew me away.
You know what? Think back to Flair and Sting Clash of Champions, the very first one. How Sting won that match, Flair gets the victory, and look at how that changed both of those guys' careers. Flair was still sort of in his heyday coming out of it. WCW was trying to find his replacement. They couldn't pull the trigger. Sting wasn't quite ready, so they extended that, and then look what happened. We're still talking about that match 20 plus years later. I'm predicting that this format survives and thrives based around the feud. You will not only set up these two to be catapulted into to championship runs and long reigns as world champions later on down the line, but you elevate everyone else that comes behind them that will wear this title.
The Great War. Guys, this is the craziest moment in professional wrestling history. We've never seen anything like this. This sort of storytelling, it's something else. I mean, there are no words to describe this angle. I can't. It's insane. This is nuts. Now, I don't know about you guys. I can't speak for you all, but I am a huge fan of this angle. I'm loving it. They haven't jumped the shark with it. I think it gets better every week. It's awesome. I think it's very clear here to me that the Hardys are going to win the tag titles. It's a no-brainer. I mean, I love Decay, don't get me wrong, but the Hardys are the hottest thing in professional wrestling right now, at least one of them, unless you're like one of those Bullet Club marks. This is the great. I'm just putting this out. I know a lot of people personally that have those shirts that don't even watch New Japan Wrestling. That's a different talk for another time, but I think the Broken Hardys are going to make the TNA World Tag Titles broken as well. That's my call on it.
In a weird way, this is kind of the real main event of the show, or at least the most anticipated match of the show, because this is really something that they've hit on something here. I don't know if you want to call it a subgenre just yet, but this is something that wrestling fans have never really seen before. They've hit on something. Just the way they're presenting this with the different way they film it and the music and the editing. I mean, it's weird shit, really weird shit, but they've figured out how to make it work. I mean, originally with that first viral video, there was a lot of, not everyone was on board with it at the time, but they figured it out and it's working for them. And now everyone's talking about this. They've turned Matt freaking Hardy into the most buzzed about character in wrestling. How does that happen? I don't know, but I agree. I think the Hardys are probably going over here, and I guess they should be, just because they're the most talked about thing in wrestling anywhere at the moment. I do think the Decay come out of this looking good. If I had one concern, it's that I really don't want to see Rebby getting over on Rosemary in any capacity. You can still have the Hardys win. By still protecting Rosemary, because Rosemary's the one who's going to go on and kind of just be the big monster heel in the knockout division. That's got to happen. I mean, they'd be insane not to do that. And I don't feel like there's that kind of potential in Rebby. I think I see her more as like a component of the Hardys act. I don't think there's a lot of money in her on her own. Rosemary's not like that. Rosemary's a freaking star, and they got to capitalize on that. at some point in the knockout division. So I hope they protect her. I don't see any reason to put Rebby over Rosemary. They can protect her. But yeah, I do see the Hardys going over here. The real intrigue, though, is that no one really knows even what kind of match this is going to be. Because I've had a lot of people question this on my own show. They're like, well, is it going to be a regular match? Is it going to be another thing like Delete or Decay? No one really knows. And I think that's part of the fun of this, is that there is so much uncertainty and intrigue in there. They don't know what kind of match it is, but everyone's excited to find out. And so am I.
Kyle, I'm going to ask you real quick. I think you looked it up on Wiki, what a Great War match was.
Yeah, it was a no-holds-barred false count anywhere match. That was listed on the match card for the Wikipedia.
So maybe that's what it is. We don't totally know that, but maybe that's what the match is. I think this match is going to be a show stealer. This is obviously the pet project, the baby of TNA right now. And Billy Corgan had said in an interview with Vince Russo that we were really going to feel his creative presence, like we were really going to feel it at Bound for Glory. So he was basically telling us, hey, everything you're seeing so far since I've been a president, that's nothing. So that just leads me to believe that with this match right here, we're just going to see something crazy. And we need to see something crazy because I don't think Decay has looked as... I mean, Decay's great. But I really thought when they put this feud together that Decay was going to really turn into a household name with people who didn't really know TNA. And I don't know that that's happening necessarily. Maybe it is. Not something I'm noticing. But I think this needs to be the big match. I think it could go on as the main event. But obviously there's, EC3 and Lashley are most likely going to go on last. I think there's a slight possibility here that Jeff does turn on Matt and they've turned the tables. I think there's a possibility of it. I wouldn't do that, but it's just a possibility I'm thinking of if I'm just trying to think outside the box a little bit. I'm going with the Hardys too, but Decay needs to look really, really strong. And like FK9 said, Rosemary is a star. She needs to really shine in this too. They have to find a way for her to shine in this. I'm really excited about this. I really am. This angle has just been great. I mean, if you look at the way WWE fans have been trashing Matt Hardy for months, and now all of a sudden they want him in their promotion. I'm going with the Hardys on this one, though.
You know, from about the time, not even from the time we started this show, but I'll go back to when I was really starting to put out a lot of columns on TNAsylum.net in 2015. I said, look, it's hard to really gain ratings and do something different in professional wrestling because, look, it's 2015, 2016, everything in pro wrestling has been done, but I was wrong. This angle, this gimmick, this entire storyline that they have started, which started with Final Deletion, now into Delete Decay, has not only never been done before, and it's like the craziest and best angle I've seen that I can remember in years, just like Kyle was talking about. It's created an alternative to the WWE, again, something that TNA was lacking. And like FK9 said, I agree, like this, in a lot of ways, this is kind of the real main event. And you know, you have TNA, which has taken so much of a drop over the past 5 years leading up to this year. You know, for them to actually be hot and the popular thing in wrestling again. And it's Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy right now with a TNA that's getting a quarter of the viewers that they used to get, or like a third of the viewers, is the most over and hottest thing in all of pro wrestling. And I mean, props to the guy. This thing is huge. It's fantastic. And it's a shame that right now we don't know what the hell the future of the company is going to be, or if the show's actually even going to go on, which sucks. But I mean, I'm so excited to see this. And, you know, I don't know what kind of a match. It could be the, you know, what was found on Wikipedia, or it could be, you know, the third installment of the Deletion series, or, you know, my prediction was kind of like it would be a cross between Full Metal Mayhem and the Monsters Ball, which I'm hoping for, because look, we've been saying it's going to happen on a live show one of these times. Rebby's boobs are going to pop out at some point. Like, it has to happen. And why not Bound for Glory? Come on. Nothing be more glorious than those. But, you know, I don't know if this is going to be a 6-person match or not. And that's the intrigue, too, is, you know, is it going to be just the Hardys against the DK? Or is it going to be the Hardys and Rebby against Decay with Rosemary. I don't know, but I want to see the belts on the line. I'm so excited for this match, and yeah, I think this is probably what I want to see the most. I guess I'm going with you guys. I think the Hardys are going to win. I would love it if the DK won, because I don't think this is going to be the only match. I think there's more to come. I would love to see Crazy Steve get a pinfall on Matt or Jeff at Bound for Glory. But you know, the Hardys, I think they have to go over this show. But man, this is going to be incredible.
I'm just going to defer to the obvious, or what I perceive as being the obvious. I feel the Hardys are going to win. They, at this point in time, especially with Jeff, well, actually, especially with both of them, how this entire broken Hardy family has managed to rejuvenate and resurrect both of their careers. Now, my take on what the Great War match would be, I think it's going to be a combination of things. I believe you're going to see a Falls Count Anywhere match. Of course, there's a no DQ match. I believe you're going to see some crazy stuff a la Chris Benoit, Kevin Sullivan, 1996, when they were in Chicago, when they were in a bathroom fighting while some dude was dropping a deuce and the referee had his foot in the urinal trying to count to 3. You're going to see some really crazy things. I believe you're going to see a cat fight. I'm hoping, Lord knows I'm hoping that I see someone boobs pop out. Because with those two things in there and the way Rebby changes outfits, something like that's bound to happen sooner or later. But you're going to see a long match. I believe this would be probably the second longest match of the night. I'm thinking this match may go 22 minutes. And you're going to see Jeff diving off all kinds of things. You're going to see you're going to see chair shots. You may even see someone go out there in Universal Studio Lot and just zip line and drop kick someone off of it. It's going to be historic. And it's going to be something that you're going to see spots that for once actually mean something. Especially with the you're a bad mother angle being thrown in late, you're going to see two teams that are going to utterly try to destroy one another. And part of the reason is, and we know Billy Corgan, once again, loves to pay attention to what's going on. I think that he's heard so much about the lost Battle of Atlanta and that entire cage match that he came up with something to say, okay, you all talking about this lost tape that's been found in blah, blah, blah. I'm going to give you something that people will talk about for the next 20 years. I think this is going to be a match that no one will soon forget. Hardys win, and they take the belts back to Hardy Manor or whatever he calls it.
December the 28th, 1997, Starrcade, Hogan versus Sting. That's the last time I've been this excited to watch a wrestling match. The only difference is, at that particular time, we knew what was going to happen. We knew Sting was going to go over, and we knew he was going to go over clean. And we knew what to expect out of the match, right? We have no idea, and every single one of you guys has said it, what to expect out of this particular match. You know, BQ said that this is his show stealer. To me, I think it already stole the show. To me, this is potentially the single most important match in TNA history, and I think that it might wind up being that way. This is where they cross the line and they push the boundaries. For years, TNA has tried new things and failed. And I think that's part of the reason why I'm not sold on the Grand Championship, because it's another potential thing to be different that they might get away from. But this Great War thing, and I said it on the HeelCast last week, actually, this is something that they could turn into a 30-minute, series. And now we're hearing, actually right on the heels of that they're talking about having an actual movie made out of it. And it's because it is so unpredictable. And, you guys have said a lot of things that might happen. I think we're going to see something pretty similar to Final Deletion. I think we're going to see It's a War. We're definitely going to see more of the fireworks. We're definitely going to see a ring in there some way, some shape, somehow. There's going to be a referee. I don't think we have to worry about Rebby going over Rosemary. And I don't think we have to worry about that simply because they're not involved in the match. That would make it a 6-man tag. And then the tag titles, they can't change hands at that point. I think we'll see them go at it, but we might see them go at it in a bedroom trying to get the Maxwell while the match is going on, outside in the ring. And maybe Vanguard 1 comes and shoots a laser at Rosemary. It just does something completely off the wall. This is clearly a match that is going to be given time. I've said I didn't think that Final Deletion or their first encounter was given enough time. I think they've been saving it for this. I think, this could go 20 minutes, but it's going to be an odd 20 minutes. It's not going to be 20 minutes of solid action. You're going to see a lot of cuts and a lot of clips like we did with Final Deletion. And you're just going to see new and interesting and, great things. Now, unfortunately, and let's face it, Raven Effect and Will, I'm talking about you undersexed folks here on this call. You're not going to get to see Rebby's boobs. This is not going to be bound for boobies. Yeah, I know it sounds like something Kyle might say. This is bound for glory. I know, never you, right? This is going to be a different match, but it is going to be kept PG because let's face it, they can edit it out if something did go wrong. Although I'll admit I wouldn't mind seeing it myself. So in terms of who's going to win, you're never going to get me going against my sis. You're never going to get me going against the family. So I cannot go with the Hardys on this. My logic behind it, like it, hate it, maybe it's flawed, is that there are too many opportunities for them with the Hardys, and that the Decay as a champions then turning and feuding with the Wolves is a logical next place for them to go. The Hardys, I'm not sure where they go. I'm going to go with the Decay in an upset, and I'm also going to say that you know what, Rosemary comes out with Maxwell. So that's my take on this particular tag match. But there is one more announced match. And BQ, I know this is one you've been looking forward to all year. You've talked about it. They've been building to this thing for a year. We got Lashley, the unbeatable Lashley, taking on EC3.
I wouldn't say this is the most anticipated match on here. I think there's some other matches people are anticipating a little bit more than this, but this is the big match. This is going to be the closer, most likely. We don't know. It's been a little while since these two guys mixed it up in the ring. Last time they did it was in the World Title Series. Lashley was a babyface. EC3 was a heel. So this match is going to be a little different. The couple times they've mixed it up in the ring so far in the episodes of Impact, Lashley has always got the upper hand on him, which he should. Champions should always look strong going into pay-per-views. TNA does a pretty good job with that. Other companies, not so much. I don't know what's going to happen with the outcome here. I'm going with Lashley because I think he has a Bellator fight in October, and he has talked about wanting to bring the TNA title with him to that. Now, I don't know if they're going to do that because he could lose the fight and have the title and look ridiculous and make TNA look bad. But I've seen his opponent too, and I'm pretty sure he's going to whip his ass. Should be a one-sided fight. We've had 2 tournaments regarding the world title in the last, I'll say, year. We've had the world title series, and we had the tournament for the number 1 contender. EC3 won both of them. I'm a little bit worried that they're kind of going the John Cena route with him, where he's, always the safe choice, the safe bet to be the guy. I don't think this is the right time for them to put EC3, put the title back on him. I know you guys on the HeelCast have talked about EC3's lost. It seems like he's lost a little bit of steam, lost a little bit of his mojo. And when they had the tag team, the tag team match last week where he teamed up with Moose seemed like the dominant guy in that match. So I don't know that they've done the best job of building up EC3 for this match. Maybe they're doing it for sympathy, but I do know these two guys are going to work very, very hard, and it's the world title. I know they're going to work hard. Lashley's been phenomenal all year. All his matches have been really enjoyable. EC3, whenever he has a big match, he's been whipping out some new moves. The cross body block off the top rope was one of them. Slingshot to the outside. They're little moves. They're little improvements, but I think EC3 is really going to bring it. And even though these are 2 muscle guys, I think it's going to be a well-worked match. However, I do think Lashley's going to go over. I don't think EC3 is the guy to beat Lashley. Lashley has been, he's been booked as the best champion in wrestling right now. I think they need to take advantage of elevating somebody else by beating Lashley eventually. They've kind of teased an X Division guy beating him. I don't think EC3 is a guy to do it right now. So I'm going with Bobby Lashley.
Me being the guy who originated the EC3 Wrestling's Greatest Hero meme, it's kind of hard to root against him or predict that he might lose. But god damn it, Bobby Lashley's run with the title has been so damn good. It's like, well, it almost feels like very fitting that he should go over here. But then you've got that Bellator question of, would they want to risk him walking out with the TNA World Title and then getting beaten by somebody? It's a hard question to answer. I don't know if I've got an answer for it, but I do agree that maybe EC3 winning the title doesn't necessarily feel as appropriate as maybe it should, because the Moose push kind of took on a life of its own in a really short time. I don't know if there's a good answer for this one, because it's like, if EC3 doesn't win, well, who else is going to beat Lashley right now? And I think it might be a little too soon for Moose, because he's doing this thing with Mike Bennett, and then afterwards he could spiral off into something else. We don't know if he's ready for the world title. His mic skills are still kind of untested, so I think it might be too soon for Moose. But if not Moose, if not EC3, then who? I don't know. So I think it likely will be EC3, even if it doesn't feel as appropriate as it probably should. So I'm going with EC3 on this. I think they're going to have a great match. They've worked well together in the past. We haven't seen it for a while. I think EC3, I think he's made a lot of progress. I think Lashley's made an incredible progress. Even if the character stuff is a little off at the moment for EC3, I think he has lost a lot of steam, but I think he's going to go in there to prove people wrong, and he's going to prove that he is the champion that we need right now. So even if it might feel too soon for Lashley to drop the title, I don't think they're going to want to risk the Bellator thing and have him getting embarrassed there. So might be too soon, but I do think they're going to have Lashley drop the title here.
I actually have to agree. I think Lashley is going to win. Bellator coming up. The way he's been booked, the way he's performed, improved mic skills, he's not too far away from being, in my mind, considered a superstar. They've done everything right. For those that have followed this man's career, you figured, okay, he has everything. Let's see if he can put it together. He has. EC3 has lost some steam right now, and I don't think putting the title, I don't think him winning moves the needle very much. I don't think it really does. It does anything. Lashley loses this now. Besides a rematch to put the belt back on him at some point on an episode of Impact, which seems to be counterproductive if you did that, where do you have him go? So I think that this was a booking mistake to put EC3 in this match to begin with, because you can't put him in a position to where he can win and be champion. Lashley has to win this match. Have both parties look dominant. It'll be an excellent match. You'll see some technical stuff. You'll see some just brutal stuff from Lashley. You'll see all of that. But it will be a match that will go. It will be another long match. I mean, figure 3-hour pay-per-view. People are going to get their money's worth. You would not walk away thinking that this is like Impact Plus. But when it's all said and done, the dust settles, smoke clears, Lashley wins. On to the next feud.
Now, it's a good question, Will. You say that EC3 shouldn't be in this particular position. Who do you put in this position then?
I would have come up with a surprise. Based upon what we've seen within the last 3 months, and considering how much crap that Lashley talked about the X Division, Eddie Edwards hasn't won very many matches this year as a solo wrestler, singles wrestler. And yet, no one's really talking about that because in the minds of the people, he's still a winner. I would have had Edwards win. That something happened, I would have had Eddie Edwards in it. You could have gone somewhere with that creatively.
He got a shot on Impact. He did.
Well, and you could have gone back to that. You could have built an entire storyline about, hey, I almost beat you. It was close. I can do it again. And you do it you give them a bigger stage, more time. It can happen. I would not have done Moose just yet. Would not have put him in there because, yeah, he's over. But no, Eddie Edwards losing, Lashley losing to someone in X Division that has the talent to be a world champion, who is credible and believable in the minds of the public, it would not hurt Lashley. Or the other person I would have used, other than Eddie Edwards, I would have used James Storm.
All right, now you're gonna make me cry. Now you're just gonna make me cry, Will. All right, you had me at Eddie Edwards. Now you're going James Storm, and I just want to cry because I miss James Storm, and I'm hoping that he comes back and does something.
Well, did you hear the rumor that he's booked for an indie show that night, the same night as Bound for Glory? BQ told me that on the podcast.
Subterfuge.
I can't hear you. I'm holding my ears now.
Well, so my call on this match, I mean, I just want to point out, I think that Bobby Lashley is doing the best work of his career right now, and I was never a big fan of his. Even I loved like the MLK storylines with MVP as his mouthpiece, and the way that ended and the Beatdown Clan started. I mean, but Bobby Lashley, I was never a huge fan until this angle right now. I think he's doing his best work. I think a prime example is that press conference they had a few impacts ago. I think everybody here can agree that was an awesome press conference. I mean, Bobby Lashley is known as a guy who's really not that great on the mic. For him to go toe-to-toe with EC3 and pretty much wash EC3, in my opinion, in that was something. But just like everybody said before me, I also want to say EC3 seems to have lost his mojo when they pushed him into this babyface role. It's like it's coincidentally or not coincidentally, Kurt Angle was leaving the company and they had to create a new babyface, and now you got this babyface EC3. I guess they decided who's our most over guy in the company, and it's him as a heel. So for him to jump to this babyface role, it's like he's kind of lost some steam. I mean, I think they executed it perfectly with the Spud thing and all that, but I think he's the type of guy that does his best work as a heel, and that's just what it is. But I'm such a big fan of his that I'm still rooting for him in this match, and I still am enjoying him as a babyface. I just think I could enjoy him way more. I think he just does best as a heel, like I said. But I think he's gonna win this match. It's hard to say, though, because, Lashley's just been so dominant. I don't know how they're going to pull it off, but I would like to see EC3 win this match. Whether it's clear or due to some shenanigans, that doesn't really matter to me, but I think EC3 needs to regain his momentum, and by doing that and defeating Lashley and becoming the TNA EC3-time champion, like he stated.
Everyone here is saying EC3 lost some steam becoming the babyface and all that. And look, I don't like to be the one that says, I told you so, but that's what I was saying back in January, February. But, EC3, he's still the man. He's lost some steam. I always said his character really only works as to its most effective stance as the kind of cocky, arrogant heel that he was. But he's still, it's still great. And he's still my favorite wrestler. I'm kind of with Kyle on that. But, the Bobby Lashley Bellator fight, and yeah, there is the chance that he really goes in and loses to some no-name guy, and that's going to make TNA look terrible. But like BQ, I kind of think Lashley's just going to wipe the floor with this guy myself too, but you never know. Because I've heard a rumor that EC3's contract is up October 13th. I've also heard rumors that he has already signed an extension and so forth. So look, that I don't know if that plays a factor into it, but if his contract is done the middle of October, that could definitely push Lashley in. When Lashley won the belts, basically at Slammiversary, him and Galloway, they had this match that was so damn good. And it just, from there, I was like, okay, there's a Lashley title win, and, but it just seemed okay, he's going to fight EC3 at Bound for Glory. That was kind of apparent right after Slammiversary. And at Slammiversary time, it was like, okay, there's no way the EC3 doesn't go over. But man, if things just changed. Bobby Lashley, and I'm going to give him Lex Luger's nickname. I've said it before. The guy is literally the total package now. He's legit as a badass outside in real life. The guy is fantastic in the ring, and the guy's cutting good promos. He's a good talker. He just has this swagger and confidence that's so like believable. It's not like wrestling on screen swagger. It's like this dude seems to just carry that shit with him. And, you know, you think about him going out to the cage with that same swagger and it just intimidating the shit out of an opponent too. And, you know, I think this one's just so hard to call now because everything has changed so different, because Lashley is just a different guy. And he might be he may be wrestler of the year too. I mean, there's definitely a handful, but man, who is better than this guy right now? And I'll tell you, Bobby Lashley is the best world champion I've seen. And I don't care. I'll give you any company that I have seen since Bobby Roode was a TNA heavyweight champion. And the reign's not as long, at least, yeah, but Lashley may even be better than that Roode title reign right now, which is crazy to say. You know, we know where Lashley's going next, which is Moose. And, you know, does that big feud that they have, does that lose some steam without the world title on the line? And like Will had said, it is a little too soon to really give Moose that title shot, but Moose is really catching up and getting big. It's just the thing with the ROH stigma, and he was just mid-card guy there not too long ago. But, you know, it's just so damn hard to pick. But I'm going to say EC3, although I don't care who wins. And EC3 is my favorite wrestler in the world by far right now. I don't care who wins because Lashley is so damn good, and the guy is just he's the best champ. I've seen him forever now.
You know, Will, you made a comment, and it's that Lashley is, quote, really close to being a superstar. And honestly, what about Lashley makes him close as opposed to just flat out being a superstar? The guy is just built like $1 million. He has improved so much on the mic. He's actually like believable on the mic, but he's actually good on the mic. And he was awful just a couple years ago. His in-ring skills have gotten so much better. The only thing that I don't like about Lashley's run is that it's almost too dominant. Too dominant to the point where I'm really not sure I believe EC3 can beat him. I'm not sure anybody can beat him. And it kind of leads me to this. It's back in the day when Hulk Hogan was the champ at WWF, and Hogan was just unbeatable. You kind of stopped watching after a while because it was like, well, I know Hogan's a champ and it's all good because Hogan's a champ. It's kind of where we are with Lashley. And so to me, I kind of feel on one hand that Lashley needs to lose for a couple reasons. First of all, because it's too predictable that he's the unbeatable champion. And second of all, because he's evolved to be such a phenom. And honestly, I would use the word phenom for Lashley. That he can carry without the belt. I actually think he doesn't need the belt anymore. I think he's become that good that he doesn't need the belt. But then there's EC3. And this is where I get mixed emotions. I think to myself, EC3's lost a lot of steam. And I know that several of you guys have blamed it on the fact that he's a face versus a heel. And I'll tell you flat out, in my lifetime, it's a hell of a lot easier for me to make you people hate me than it is to get you to like me. So on one hand, yeah, it's easier to be a heel. And he certainly is better as a heel. Now, I think most people are natural heels, to be honest with you. But on the other hand, EC3 hasn't been booked very well. So when I look at the booking of him, I think that with all the stars that have been made this year, and it's been impressive, right? It hasn't just been Decay, but it's also been Mike Bennett. Drew Galloway's really come into his own. You know, we've also got, you know, Aaron Rex being built up now, Moose. All of these people have been built up, and somebody to suffer. EC3 was a top dog, and I think the TNA creative almost started to take it for granted that EC3 could rise above that particular challenge and that EC3 could just stay where he is. So I happen to fall into as a believer at I'm not sure EC3 is ready to be the champ. So as far as predictions, I think I'll save my prediction on this for a little bit later, but we might also find out that the winner might just be the person that Billy Corgan is the pet and thinks is going to bring the company into the next stage and the next few months. The other thing that I'll throw out there with Lashley going into the MMA fight is that I would not put Lashley in the MMA fight as champion, particularly against a match where the guy really is a no-name. I don't mind him going out as the world champion in a championship fight. I worry about him taking a one-punch knockout. That's all it takes. And now this huge build-up to Lashley has been just obliterated. So that having been said, that's the last match that we have announced. But there's also talk about a potential X Division title match and who might be in that match and what might not happen. Now, at this point where we're recording this, this is all speculation. I'm going to go on board and say that in my mind, I think we're going to find that DJZ and Eddie Edwards is going to be this match. And I think we're going to see that DJZ is going to go over. Now, Kyle, I don't know what you're thinking. Do you agree with that? Do you disagree with that? How do you see it?
I think we're going to get a nice little run out of DJZ. Personally, I mean, I think it's too soon to, take it off of him.
Ideally, I'd like it to be DJZ versus Eddie Edwards. I think it's been a long time since we had a good one-on-one X Division match for the title of Bound for Glory. Apparently, they're going to do that on Impact next week. Hopefully, there will be some kind of interference. Maybe the Helms Dynasty interferes or causes a DQ or something, and then they push it to Bound for Glory. That's what I'd like to see. I think these are the two biggest names in the X Division right now. You have Eddie Edwards, who's kind of risen above that stature at this point. DJZ, who was built up a lot to win the title. He seems to be the guy that they're building the division around right now. I think he's the right guy to do that. What I think will most likely happen instead is that they'll just do another Ultimate X multi-man spot fest. Unfortunately, that gimmick has been kind of devalued in recent times due to the fact that they've just done so damn many of them. And they just did one recently to crown the new champion in the match that at the time I thought should have been saved for Bound for Glory. But now they did it on Impact, and I'd like to see them do the one-on-one with Eddie and DJZ. I don't think that's where they're going. I do think DJZ is going to retain in whatever match does end up happening because he just won the damn title. It's way too damn early to take the title off him. And I think they need to start thinking about rehabilitating the X Division title in the eyes of the fans because it's kind of been dragged through the mud lately. We've seen the last few champions not be featured very much at all, have their title reigns be kind of ignored. And then there was that business with Lashley treating it the way he did, which I was just not on board with at all. So they have to kind of start rebuilding that title. And they do that by having a good champion, a credible champion, featured regularly, give him a nice, long, enjoyable title reign. You have to start that at some point. And DJZ is a good guy to do it with, but you can't have him lose the title anytime soon. Certainly not at Bound for Glory. Take this opportunity, put him over, give him some good time, put the guy over, have him retain the title, go on to have a good title reign, hold it until lockdown or if not longer. But to sum this up, I think DJZ needs to go over in whatever kind of match they have. Whether or not he actually does, who knows, because the X Division title is kind of an uncertainty at this point. It doesn't seem like they really care about the title all that much, but I'm going to vote with my heart here instead of my head and assume that DJZ goes over in a way that really elevates him.
If this match is indeed Edwards and DJZ, actually really doesn't matter. It could be DJZ versus Kyle right about now. DJZ is going to go over.
I'd like to see that, by the way, because I think Kyle can take him.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't know if you guys ever heard on the King of the Mountain podcast, I talk about when I was a preteen, I had a nice 4-year backyard wrestling run. That's a fact.
Well, I'll be honest with you. On the HeelCast, I've personally been wanting to see Lashley versus Raven Effect. That's the match that we want to see.
I think that would break the internet more than Ricochet and that other dweeb.
See, the thing about that is I don't want to see that match happen at all. I want no parts of Lashley.
Hey, I offered to take Lashley on. I was all over Twitter trying to challenge him. I think I can take Lashley.
But see, right there, before I give the DJZ prediction, that is the thing. You referenced that Hogan, you just went in figuring that Hogan was going to win when he was champion. That was from like late 83 from when we beat the Iron Sheik to about 88 that happened. This is why I feel Lashley, he's a star, yes, but being that star that people will remember for the next 10 years, I think he's close to that. Here's the reason why. You have to have good dance partners in the ring, and you have to be somewhat believable that you can be beaten. Eddie Edwards made it seem as if, okay, someone can do it. James Storm, someone can do it. When you look at some of the greatest champions in the history of wrestling, Harley Race was one of them. This Dory Funk was another. They made you believe that, on any given night, this could be the night. And so that's just, my quick thoughts of how he's been booked to where people feel they have a chance. As far as DJZ and whomever he's in the ring with, he has to go over because this belt has been passed around more than the collection plate at church and the hooker on the corner. You need to give it some credibility. Too many transitional champions. How many times we've seen this belt change hands in the last 3 months? It's happened way too often. And if TNA is going to build a legacy, if they're going to go ahead and strengthen a division, and they need to hit on all cylinders, you need to have all the titles mean something. You have to put it on someone and give them a long reign. Here's a guy who, in DJZ, re-signed with the company man, let him get his reward. I don't want to see the belt change. I want to see an entertaining match. I wanted to go back and forth, but my prediction, I'm going with my heart and logic here, DJZ will win. Plus, you didn't see the Wolves reform because, well, tag team division's kind of skim milk thin right now. So DJZ has to win. Eddie doesn't need the X Division title. If you're going to give him a title, have it be the world title. But that ship has sailed.
Yeah, I think, like I said before, DJZ needs a nice run with this X Division title. It blows my mind because it's like the X Division title has had like middle child syndrome in TNA for years now, and it's like you don't have a TNA without the X Division title. The X Division title built TNA. When you think of like the years where TNA was cementing their legacy and its inception and everything, it's all about the X Division. The X Division is what brought TNA to the dance. There's no denying that. And for some reason, it's just been casted aside over the past couple of years. The X Division title does not have the prestige it once had. I don't know if I'd lower it to a hooker on the corner like Will just did, but it doesn't get a good spot in the show. I mean, a lot of the times the matches are quick. I mean, the talent's there. You got the guys to make this division something, and you would think everything that's going on with the Cruiserweight Classic would put the pressure on TNA to give them a one-up and do something even better. Which with Corgan coming into play, we know everything's gonna possibly change within the company. Maybe Corgan will be the guy to make sure that happens, and we get the X Division back where it belongs on top. With whatever they do at Bound for Glory with the X Division title, I mean, we got one more Impact to go tomorrow night, so I'm sure something will be announced then. But I like DJZ a lot. I think he's one of the most improved talents over the past few years. He's really, really just gotten better and better in the ring with his hard-hitting, high-flying, like Lucha Libre type style. And I think he needs to get a nice long run to rejuvenate this X Division title.
I thought Eddie Edwards really should have been the guy that got that long, rewarded X Division title. And when he finally won it at Slammiversary, I was excited. When he won it the second time, I was even more excited, thinking, okay, they're going to push the guy, and it didn't happen. One thing that was happening, though, was that it was like, as much as Eddie deserves it, DJZ deserves it, too, because DJZ, like Kyle just mentioned, the guy is so improved this year, and, I mean, he's on fire. Like, the guy is fantastic. He's made me a huge fan of him. So I think what they're doing with the match, I mean, we saw last week we had the Helms Dynasty guys, Eddie Edwards, DJZ. We know we're getting DJZ against Eddie Edwards on Impact this week. My prediction is we're going to get the same 4 guys in an X Division Championship match that opens Slammiversary to open Bound for Glory. My prediction is either it's going to be an Ultimate X match or maybe it'll be elimination rules or something like that. I would like to see it be an Ultimate X, but we'll get the returning Tigre Uno. We'll get Mark Andrews in it, and we'll get the other X Division guys, not named Braxton Sutter or Marche Rocket, in the match. But I'm assuming it's going to be those 4. I think regardless what happens, we're going to see DJZ retain. It's going to be the opening match, in my opinion, of course. We're talking about the Wolves reforming in the tag team division, being skim milk thin. Will, I love your analogies, by the way, man. They're awesome. But, I think we need to see the Helms Dynasty against the Wolves as a tag team feud and let the Helms Dynasty go out and showcase what they can do. And I hope that spins off from this match at least. I don't know who DJZ goes on to take on from here. I hope it happens to be Mark Andrews. I hope it happens to be Andrew Everett. I hope we see him take on Tigre Uno, but I definitely think DJZ retains the belt regardless coming out of Bound for Glory this year.
Will is the man with the analogies. I think the tag team division is slimmer than Bible pages. How's that one? All right.
That's pretty good.
You know what? I gotta say
bringing
something.
heat.
I gotta say something though. Thinner than skim milk. That's still better. That shit was awesome. Thinner than skim milk. I'm gonna use that one. Will, can I use that one?
Sure, go right on ahead.
All right, awesome.
At least can X Division at least be a high class, like high quality hooker on the corner? I mean, not just a. I mean, it's still got some beauty to it,
I mean, if you don't have enough money for the upper class, that'll get the job. I mean, it'll get the job done. Just need to use inner tubes instead of condoms, but sure.
Oh Jesus.
So anyway, awkward.
I've been out awkward.
Man.
All right, so X Division. I've said on our show that the ship has sailed for the X Division. They proved it by having the Destination X show right before the Cruiserweight Classic and didn't shine. The X Division extravaganza, you look at the guys they brought in, talented guys, but again, they have not shown that they're trying to step up to the plate with some of the other companies wrestling they're doing with cruiserweights and lightweights right now. I agree with FK9 that I would like to see Eddie Edwards versus DJZ. Now, when they had the in-ring segment the other day, I was really excited because I thought they were hyping up a Bound for Glory match. I thought Eddie Edwards was challenging him for Bound for Glory. Why would you challenge someone for the next week on Impact when your biggest pay-per-view is 2 weeks away? I just don't really see the logic in that. I was very disappointed when they said it was an Impact match. I would like to see that one-on-one match at Bound for Glory for the X Division title. I'm going to go on a limb and say the match that DJZ and Eddie Edwards put on is going to be better than what we get at Bound for Glory. I think Bound for Glory, like I said, I think the ship has sailed. I think at Bound for Glory we're going to get a multi-man ladder match. And I think DJZ is going to pull it off, don't get me wrong. But I think we're going to get a gimmick match. I don't think it's going to be Ultimate X. I'm going with the ladder match on this one because I think they can get away with more wrestlers in the ring than the Ultimate X one. So I'm going with DJZ winning it, but I think it is going to be a big multi-man match. I think whatever DJZ and Eddie Edwards do on Impact is going to be better than the Bound for Glory match.
Now, look, guys, before we get to our show predictions and who we think are going to win the matches, there's one more topic that we have not discussed yet, and we need to talk about it right now, and that is Cody. We don't know if he's Cody, Cody R, Cody Rhodes, Cody Runnels, but he's Cody. Guys, how do we think that this is going to transition, and what do we think that Cody Rhodes is going to do?
I have no idea, and that's what's so awesome about TNA. You would think this is some sort of predictable scenario because today in wrestling we get so many predictable scenarios, but I feel like TNA has done a very good job at keeping us on the edge of our seats, and I don't know what Cody's going to do. I don't know if he's going to wrestle at Bound for Glory. I have no idea, but I do hope that he pulls up in that sweet ride.
Supposedly, Cody has a list of people that he wants to wrestle now that he's done with WWE. And the rumor is that Mike Bennett is on that list, and that's apparently who he's come to TNA to feud with. So I guess the simplest explanation is to have him come out as the special referee for Mike Bennett versus Moose, and have him do something to cost Mike the match, and then transition into that feud. I think it is predictable. They've done this type of stuff before, but it doesn't mean it's bad. Aside from that, I'm not sure what else they could do if they are headed toward the Mike Bennett feud. It seems like the logical way to go. And I guess he could also bring out Brandy in there and have her do stuff with Maria. It basically writes itself. Not getting too creative on here, but not everything has to be. We don't even know if Cody's going to be a long-term thing or if he's going to be there just temporarily to feud with Mike Bennett and maybe a couple other people. But if that's all he's there to do, I don't think you need to get that special with him. Just have him go out there as the special referee, be the special attraction guy, have him get in Mike Bennett's face, play it up like a big deal, and then you've got a feud for a couple of months.
Actually, I was thinking a very similar thing. I don't think you're going to see a surprise match. I don't think you're going to even have him come out and be a special referee. I think he comes out, he's going to give the promo of his life. And I'm expecting to hear a pipe bomb. And I think it's going to probably approach CM Punk type levels. It worked with Aaron Rex when he did that a month ago. I think you're going to see something very similar. And he is going to frame it in a manner that will lead you to believe that he is going to be around for a while, because I don't personally think that he is going to. I know he's going to go with the different organizations, but I think ultimately he ends up with TNA, and with a wife that looks like that, you don't want to be too far away from her. So I think he's going to be there. He's going to set up things Bound for Glory for the next couple of months, and also the first quarter of 2017. And so this is just going to be a thing where, hey, I'm here and I got some things that I'm going to do. So be ready. And it's going to be probably the best promo that we've ever heard him cut in the ring.
The pipe bomb thing is kind of something that would be amazing. The worst thing ever would be for him to cut that pipe bomb and then Vince McMahon buy the company out. But I'm not going to dig into that. I'm just letting everyone know what I'm afraid of at the moment. Look, I figured he would either do a promo. I didn't think about the special referee like FK9 said, but I thought he's going to come out and do this crazy good promo and kind of the pipe bomb CM Punk type of thing. But the other two things that came to mind were that he'll get involved somehow or another in the Mike Bennett and Moose match, so he can spark that feud with Mike Bennett. The other thing that came to mind is obviously Bound for Gold, and with this disappointing news about James Storm possibly being booked on a indie match or an indie show, the date of Bound for Glory, there goes my hopeful winner, surprise winner there. So I think if he's not going to do something with Mike Bennett or cut a promo, I'm also kind of expecting he's going to show up in the Bound for Gold match. And I think it may come down to maybe him and Eli Drake. I did think maybe he would have like an impromptu match, kind of like Braxton Sutter and James Storm had at Slammiversary type of thing. I don't know really who you feed him to. I thought maybe Rockstar Spud, but he's inbound for gold. But I'm expecting something big from Cody Rhodes. And if he is inbound for gold, I could definitely see him winning it. But, I'm thinking it's probably going to be more along the promo level. But it would be kind of the best thing to do to actually get him in the ring on your biggest pay-per-view and have him actually physically wrestle.
There's 6 matches announced for the pay-per-view, and Slammiversary was 8 matches, as if I'm recalling correctly. So we know that we're going to get X Division matches number 7. So this is why I tend to think we're going to get an 8th match with Cody. I don't think he's going to be inbound for gold, because I think if you put him in that, he has to win. And I think that's I think the HeelCast was talking about this. I don't remember who was saying this. I want to say it was you guys. If Cody, let's say he wins this thing and he's thrown in the title picture, maybe he even wins a title. Who's to say he goes to ROH and he's not booked that strongly? And it kind of You can't put him in a title picture in one company when you don't know what the other company is going to do with him. So I don't think that's going to happen. His list of TNA guys is Mike Bennett, Moose, and Trevor Lee. So I think he's going to get some kind of match with Moose, like a competitive match. But we know he's come to face Mike Bennett. I think he is going to do a promo segment, and I think Mike Bennett is going to insert himself into that. And that's why I say Mike Bennett, I think he's going to beat Moose, because Mike Bennett can't lose the Moose and then interrupt his segment. It's going to make him look weak. So I think it's going to be a segment. I think there is going to be a match. I think it's going to be a very like an open challenge type of thing. Now, when I was fantasy booking this a few days ago, I was actually fantasy booking Bully Ray to answer the open challenge for a one-off, not coming back to the company. He's been teasing a few TNA things a little bit on Twitter, changes name to Bully Ray. Devon's gone back to WWE to work behind the scenes. Bully Ray's maintained on the independent. So, but with everything we've been hearing lately, financials and stuff, I'm going to assume that's not going to be the case. I think there's a slight possibility, and I know this goes against my prediction with the X Division saying there's going to be a multi-man ladder match. I think the most likely opponent for him is going to be Trevor Lee. It's someone on his list. He actually has a match with Trevor Lee on the Indies, I think this week or last week or the week after Bound for Glory, something like that. It's in the media future. I think there's a good chance he has a one-on-one match. I think it's going to be Trevor Lee. That's just my kind of outside the box guess. And then I think Mike Bennett will find a way to insert himself into this. But again, that's why I think Mike Bennett's going to beat Moose to look strong and then get involved with Cody in one way or another. But I do think it'll be a match.
Yeah, so first off, I'll just say anything but Bully Ray. Please no Bully Ray. The guy lost me with the whole karma comment, and once you lost me, you kind of don't get me back. As far as this is concerned, I'm the one actually BQ that was saying I don't think that Cody can be at the top of the card because you don't know what the other company's going to do with him, right? It was just like watching Moose get beat by Donovan Dijak in ROH. I mean, yeah, he was on his way out. You kind of understood it, but you can't have somebody jobbing to Donovan Dijak and then, feuding with Bobby Lashley, right? And I know that there are a lot of people out there that really like Donovan Dijak and think that he's an up-and-comer, but he's not there. So you just can't risk that. Just like you can't risk, Rebby losing her top. That would be a bad thing, too, for, Matt. In any event, the way I'm looking at this is I think it's going to be a promo, and I think that we'll hit the nail on the head with that. Sorry, guys, I don't have any better analogies than that. But I think it's going to be a promo, and I think what you're going to find is that Mike Bennett will come out probably on Impact and start to say something if we don't see the women go at it first, right? So we might find that it starts with the women having a backstage confrontation, and it builds from there. I think that Cody will have an impact, pardon the pun, on the particular match, but I don't really know that he's going to be a guy that's going to do much. So at any rate, if you guys are wondering why I'm distracted right now, you can blame Kyle for posting wonderful pictures in the chat window. So that's what I think is going to happen in this particular pitch. Yeah, I'm calling you out, buddy. I'm calling you out, and we're leaving that one in too. Damn it!
Broken brilliance.
It was not broken, buddy. That was anything but broken, and I appreciate it.
Decrepit
I have
erection.
screenshots.
Oh, the decrepit erection got brought back.
Hey, look, we had to have dick jokes in here somewhere. I mean, you guys have your boobies, but here on the HeelCast, we have dick jokes. But seriously, I do think that Cody's going to have a fairly large impact on Impact itself. I do think it's going to happen in this particular show. I think the show is already booked well in advance of Cody joining. I think that BQ makes a point. There could be some form of a match that could pop out ahead of time, but not necessarily straight away. So that having been said, guys, it's time to go round robin on the predictions and go match by match through. So Kyle, since you're the main distractor here, how about if we get you to go with your predictions, and I'm going to predict that you put another picture in my chat window, please.
Okay, so Moose versus Bennett. I'm pulling for Moose. I think we're going to see Moose. Not that Bennett isn't going to get any shine in the match, but I think that Moose is going to win this one. If he doesn't, obviously it's going to be some of your usual miracle shenanigans. But yeah, I'm going with Moose on that one. The Bound for Gold Gauntlet match, like I stated earlier in the show, I think this is about the the perpetual motion of badassery. I think that's what he calls himself, the Mr. Eli Drake himself. By the way, listeners, you got to get the dummy button. And moving on, we're going on to the Knockouts title match. Like I said, this is Gail Kim. She's our female John Cena. Not that John Cena already isn't a female, but that's another talk for another time. So, yeah, I'm thinking Gail Kim's going to beat Maria in that. I think it might be Gail Kim's swan song, like I said before. And then moving on, we got the Grand Championship. Hopefully Drew Galloway is healthy enough to compete. With that one, I'm thinking Aaron Rex is going to take the win there. I just feel like they just brought him in. He's got some buzz. As much as I like this new personality Drew Galloway's been showing off, I think Aaron Rex is going to take the win in that one. Then going to the Great War, I'm pushing for the Broken Hardys. Then we got Lashley versus EC3. I think we're going to see the EC3 time champion. But EC3's got to watch his back because whoever wins Bound for Gold earlier in the night might try to come after the winner after the main event. So, yeah, there's my picks on that. Moving on to...
All right, Mike Bennett versus Moose. I'm going to say Moose takes this one after some kind of interference or involvement from Cody Rhodes, setting up that feud with Mike Bennett. Bound for Gold Gauntlet match. I'm going to go with Eli Drake on that one as well. I think the time has come for him to stop losing matches and start getting pushed seriously. Knockouts title match. Seems like a foregone conclusion here. Gail Kim goes over. Gail Kim wins the title, but the crowd is so preoccupied with chanting "We want Allie" that they don't really acknowledge it too much. Aaron Rex versus Drew Galloway. I'm going to go with Drew on this one. He seems like he needs the title a little bit more. He could use that push. Aaron Rex doesn't really need it. Plus, you can use that to really start a feud between those guys if the heel has it first. Tag team title match, the Great War. As much as I want the Decay to win this one, the Hardys going over is probably the right call. Just my one wish, please protect Rosemary TNA. She's the linchpin that makes the Decay work. She's the one that's going to be big in the knockout division. Don't have Rebby go over on her. It's not necessary. You can have the Decay look strong. You can still have the Hardys win, but just protect Rosemary at all costs. That's all I ask. And World Championship, this one's really hard to predict. I'm going to go with EC3. Even though if you take out the Bellator situation, I think Lashley going over would probably make more sense because it just seems like a shame to end his title reign when it's going so well. But I think EC3 is going to take this one. I'm not 100% on that, though. As for the X Division, I'm sticking with my prediction before. I think we're in for some kind of big multi-man spot fest, most likely an Ultimate X, but a ladder match would probably work, or probably be just as likely. At any rate, I think DJZ is going to come out of this on top. I'm just really wishing we could get some kind of one-on-one contest there.
My predictions: Moose versus Mike Bennett. I believe that I agree. You're going to see some sort of interference. Something's going to come up. Moose is going to win. That will end that match. Moose will be victor of that one. Bound for Gold Gauntlet match. I would love to see Eli Drake get that, but I think that they're going to save him for the Grand Championship. I think Tyrus is going to win, and that way he can be the fixer and then boast a two-time winner of this style of match. Next up, Knockouts title match, Maria versus Gail Kim. As much as I would love to see two other people in it, Gail Kim is going to win. I don't think she is going to retire right off as much as some of us would love to see her just go out on top. I believe she's going to have some title matches in the future, build some other people while still holding the title. Grand Championship. To kick off what I believe would be a serious three-way feud between Eli Drake, Galloway, and Aaron Rex. Drew Galloway wins, and it's going to be controversial. So controversial win where Aaron Rex looks like a winner. Judges will think differently. I don't know. Maybe they didn't have enough Mountain Dew and missed a spot somewhere. But Drew Galloway wins. The Great War will probably be this would be a match that it's going to make people wonder how can you top this? Hardys are going to win. I so hope that I like Rosemary. I hope that they don't do something to where they just ruin the months of hard work that they put into building her up. I really hope that Rebby isn't going to be getting in the ring anytime full time anytime soon, and it's not necessary. Save that for later. Build that up to next year. Have it around Mother's Day or something, but don't do it now. So Hardys will win. Lashley versus EC3. Going to be a very good match. Lashley is going to win. And then the other match, DJZ versus, I don't know, 2 orphan kids and a stray dog and anyone else they may put out there is going to be DJZ. Because, well, they don't need any more transitional champions with this title. Those are just my picks.
All right, for me, I am going with Mike Bennett over Moose. I think I'm the only one that's going with that one just because I think they're more concerned with building him strong for a feud with Cody than they are building Moose strong because I think Moose is going to be over regardless. So I'm going with Mike Bennett on heelish tactics. Bound for gold. I've been saying Eli Drake all week. I think someone said earlier Jesse Goddard was a dark horse, and I think he is a dark horse. I know we still have 3 more people to be announced, and I think one of the 3 people announced is going to win it. I don't know that this person is going to be inserted into the match, but my choice is Eddie Edwards for Bound for Gold. Knockouts title match, I think Gail Kim wins. I just can't see a scenario where Maria wins. It's unfortunate that they're hot-shotting this title. We've got 3 knockouts who have not gotten rematches in Jade, Sienna, and Allie. And Maria is probably going to join that list too. But I am going with Gail Kim. I think Allie's going to cost her the match. And I think we're going to get a major step forward in Allie's character in this match. Grand Championship, Aaron Rex and Drew Galloway. I don't think this feud needed the title. I know I didn't speak on this match earlier, so I just want to give this opinion really quick. I really think this match, due to the, it's a blood feud for the most part. There's a lot of heat. I think they could have had a normal one-on-one match. I'm afraid the rules of this match are going to box them in a little bit because I think the title is better for wrestling matches, not feuds. But I'm going with Drew Galloway. I think the way he put over the title, talking to EC3 the other day, saying, hey, I might give you a match. I could see EC3 if he loses feuding with him. I think he's going to make that title important as a heel, Drew. So I'm going with Drew. Tag team title match. Again, I think we're going to see something very crazy here because they have to kind of top the Leader Decay. They can't just go out there and have a match. It's got to be crazy. So I do think the Hardys are going to win. As it's been said, Rosemary has to look strong. I think she's going to get the victory on Rebby tomorrow on Impact. Whoever gets that one-on-one victory, I think the opposite team is going to win. So that's why I do think Rosemary is going to get the win. I think Decay is going to lose at Bound for Glory, however. So Hardys. World title match, I'm going with Lashley. I just think he's too strong right now. I think they need the person who beats him is going to need the rub. EC3 doesn't need it. I just don't think it's appropriate time for EC3 to win the title. As I predicted, I think it's going to be a multi-man ladder match. And I do think DJZ will leave the champion and go on to have a fairly long reign.
All right, guys. Now, look, here's the thing. It is now officially past 9 o'clock on the West Coast, and that means one thing. Raven Effect is now snuggled in bed, sleeping, because, yes, it's past his bedtime. So that having been said, Raven Effect was kind enough to leave us with his picks for me to read out to you folks. Raven Effect has Moose over Mike Bennett In the Bound for Gold gauntlet match, he is taking none other than Eli Drake. No surprises in the next match. He has Gail Kim defeating Maria Kanellis. He is taking Drew Galloway as the very first ever TNA Grand Champion. And in the tag team title match, the Great War, yes, Rosemary, he's picking you and the Decay to lose to the Hardys. And finally, in the World Championship match, he's got EC3 going over Lashley, and he is definitely picking DJZ to retain. As far as my picks go, guys have been going back and forth on this. I've been flip-flopping worse than a politician on election day. The bottom line is, I do believe that Moose will go over Mike Bennett in this match. I believe Mike Bennett is already over. I believe that Moose, while he appears to be over, could use a lasting rub. In the Bound for Gold gauntlet match, I'm going outside the box. We've talked about it already. I'm going to take my man, James Storm, to make a triumphant return and to become the next challenger for the World Heavyweight title. The Knockouts match, this is a no-brainer. Gail Kim does not lose to Maria Kanellis. What's also a no-brainer in my book is that Maria Kanellis brings the entire locker room to fight Gail off, but in the end, it is the everyday woman, the underdog. It is Allie that comes to the aid of Gail Kim, to defeat Maria Kanellis, and Gail Kim walks out the champ, but Allie walks out the star. And what we're seeing is the transition. Do not know where Gail Kim goes after this, but Allie becomes the star. Grand Championship tournament match. I've also got Drew Galloway defeating Aaron Rex in this one. I absolutely love what Will said about this being the controversial decision. And yes, the controversial decision goes the way of the heel. I also think that Drew Galloway could use the belt a little more. And I think that his style would be perfect for the Grand Championship anyway. Tag team title match, I said it before, I don't go against the family, never root against Decay. It doesn't happen. Decay takes the win. Finally, in the world title match, I have EC3 going over. This one could go either way, but that's who I've got, and DJZ retains. Bottom line, guys, I don't know what y'all think, but this is a must-purchase pay-per-view. This is going to be phenomenal.
I already did buy it. I pre-ordered it.
Yes, you did.
It's going to be the best of the year, especially when you look at what that Connecticut company's been doing. And I happen to watch that Connecticut company, have a network subscription, but you know, considering how they just shot a major deuce twice a month now with these pay-per-views or special events where Sunday night effing Raw or Sunday night effing SmackDown, it's like masturbating with a cheese grater. It sounds like it might be fun at first, but it ends up being a mostly painful experience.
Does it sound fun at first? I don't think that sounds very fun at first.
I have to beg to ask the question, Will. How do you know?
I heard about it in college.
It like?
I heard about it from a guy in college.
Doesn't sound like it, man. Doesn't sound like it. Was he your roomie?
He was a guy that was kind of way out there.
He was kind of way out there. Well, you know what? You can keep the cheese graters. This is going to be great. This is absolutely a must-purchase pay-per-view, guys. Now, look, I got to say it right now. You know, the HeelCast is a sound-off every show, but BQ, you guys, the King of the Mountain podcast, you're the Twitter poll guys. So I understand you put some Twitter polls together specifically for the listeners of this particular show.
I have. I've been doing my best to keep them at the top of my Twitter feed, and I will continue to do that up till Bound for Glory. So just check out KOTM_podcast. I keep retweeting them, trying to keep them high up there. I think we've got about 150 on each so far, somewhere in that general ballpark. So we want to know your predictions on all these matches. And once we watch Impact tomorrow night and we find out what they're doing for X Division, then I will add another one. And if we get another match, I will add that on there too. So, but right now I got the 6 polls up, and they're all fairly one-sided.
And that's at KOTM_podcast?
That is correct.
Awesome. So, folks, make sure you go and follow, if you're not already following, at KOTM_podcast. Get your opinions out on these Twitter polls, and let's see what we've got. Now, look, guys, I want to thank everybody for doing this. This, to me, was this was a hell of a lot of fun. This was a great show. The King of the Mountain guys, you guys are an absolute blast. I can't wait to be one with you guys again. FK9, you're always awesome. And even Raven Effect, or maybe we'll call him Sleeping Raven Effect instead of Broken Raven Effect at this point. But I know he had a blast as well. Guys, this has been awesome. Thank you so much.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Love this.
We got to really do this again sometime, whether it's with the next big pay-per-view a year from now or with the one-night onlys. I think, we did something great here, this little super show for the TNA fans.
I think it's awesome too, and I'd love to just have one or two of you guys on every now and again, just to spruce things up over on the HeelCast and just do some crossover like that as well.
Yeah, you guys come over with us.
Hey, but you know what? It works both ways, I suppose. But
no,
we'd
talent
love to have
exchange.
you on. There you go, talent exchange. The brands, right? Something like that. No, let's not go there. So, but definitely, thank you guys. Thank you, everybody.
It's hard doing shows like this when no one is really sure what the future of the company is going to be exactly. But if all goes well, we'll turn on Bound for Glory Sunday night and see Billy Corgan there in the ring talking about the future of the company and all the crazy things that are to come in the future. That's what everybody wants to see, so we can continue to have a real wrestling alternative to the WWE and ROH and Lucha Underground and all that stuff. So we can continue bringing you shows like this one. Yeah, I've had a lot of fun tonight. I think we've all had a lot of fun doing this little collaboration show between our two podcasts. But we got to wrap things up for tonight. So on behalf of the King of the Mountain podcast, TNA Dude, Raven Effect, who took off a few minutes ago to go rub out a decrepit erection, and numero 47, not sure if you are. Shut up, I'm not finished. I think there's nothing left to say, but Robbie E sucks. Buy the toilet paper, watch my show, and with any luck, you'll have the pleasure of listening to us all again very soon. HeelCast out.